Hello everyone, how are you or how are you all of you? So first of all, is the audio and video clear to everyone? Please let me know that. Is the audio and video good, or if you are finding that audio is too loud, please let me know. I think audio is pretty much clear to everyone. So we would be moving ahead then. So we are on 24th December and tomorrow would be Christmas. So by the evening today, we'll be in the eve of Christmas, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas tomorrow. And obviously, I hope that Santa Claus brings you the gifts of results, success, and whatever possibly positive you want in your life. So with this wonderful thought, let's move towards the important thought for the day. And thought for the day today, a very important quote from Virat Kohli: take responsibility of your life and always lead from the front. That you are the person who have to take control of your life. Sometimes you will get success, sometimes you will get failures, sometimes even people will bully you, or sometimes people will even highly criticize you. Merry Christmas to everyone. Yes, yes. Merry Christmas to everyone. And so again, coming back to Virat Kohli. So people will criticize you. People will say you are over. People say that you don't have mettle. For example, in the current Border Gavaskar Trophy, I am a cricket fan. So in that, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli has been very harshly criticized, and to an extent, many experts think that is correct also, because age will always catch up. But what I've seen in these big stars, and specifically Virat Kohli, is that they tend to bounce back, and the kind of practice they're having, and even if they retire tomorrow from the test cricket, they should do on their terms, because they take responsibility of their life. Similarly, you also need to take responsibility of your life, of your failures, of your actions, of your success, everything. Take responsibility of it. If you have failure, accept it. If you get success, be thankful to everyone, whoever is in the journey, because that way you will remain down to earth, and people would definitely also like you in the sense that this person, how he has been helpful, and how even after achieving success, he remains on the ground. This is how the society, people work. They always like, and I want you to inculcate this habit of accepting your failures and accepting where you went wrong, learn from your mistakes, take control of your life, and move ahead. So the important news for today before I move. So first of all, 2nd January 2026 is your 2nd January 2020, sorry, 2nd January 2025 is the batch starting for OGP 2026, which includes GS, CSAT, SA. For all details, you can also call on this number 8069405205, and for all details you can also scan this QR code. This number is very important if you want to know anything about Insights course, for prelims, for mains, for test series, for APEC courses, that is specifically for your prelims. You can call on this number and get every detail. So with this wonderful thought, let's move to the news of today. Bangladesh writes to India seeking Hasina's extradition. So finally, official extradition request has come from Bangladesh, and this is the only thing which was remaining in the strained India-Bangladesh relationship. This is the final nail in the coffin which has happened, and this puts India on a very tight rope, because if India does not go ahead with this, and I feel they will not go ahead with the request citing some paperwork or citing some, that there are certain issues, and I think India will wait till 20th Jan. Trump takes the course of the things. So, and if India, India will most probably not go, then there would be, Bangladesh might use the pressure of Pakistan, China, Interpol, or some other agencies, or try doing some arm twisting techniques. Obviously, in the terms of economy and many other things they can't do, but in the terms of terrorism, they can certainly do. We'll talk about that. Then is External Affairs Minister's 6-day US visit will kick off today. This visit is more in the terms of a proactive visit. Like External Affairs Minister, National Security Advisor had also met the Sri Lankan President Anura Dissanayake before He became the president to understand his thought process and everything. Similarly, External Affairs Minister is going to US to meet all the nominee, the cabinet nominee of Donald Trump to understand their thought process. You know, all the important people he will meet. This is a similar visit which External Affairs Minister at that time in 2016 also he had done a similar kind of visit to US, meeting all the important people from Trump presidency who was coming in his cabinet, holding important portfolios. Similar thing is being done right now, so that the Prime Minister's Modi visit is expected in the America. So doing the homework before Trump and Modi meets. In Prelims Decode, we'll talk about initiative on critical and emerging technologies. This initiative was founded in 2022, started in 2023, and as the word says, it focuses on critical and emerging technologies. 6 important sectors come in that. We'll talk about that. Editorial: India's steel frame does need a check. This talks about that in the civil services or the IAS or bureaucracy, which is the steel frame of India, there needs to be, it needs to be relooked and it needs to be re-improved. There should be renovation of these services. So a lot important thing has come in this article. It talks about the administrative ARC of 2006 and the earlier one, administrative reforms recommendations I'm talking about. So we'll go through it. It's a wonderful editorial from the point of view of civil services. We'll understand then, and then we have standard Q&A tidbits and extra mile. Okay, so let's move towards the first move. Bangladesh writes to India seeking Hasina's extradition. So yes, India and Bangladesh have an extradition treaty, and it has been used earlier also. But the problem which has been there, the deposed Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, she is in exile in India, and her extradition is now been officially confirmed by the Bangladesh. And Indian Ministry of External Affairs has also officially accepted that this request has come. But the problem remains is that this was the only thing which Bangladesh should not have done, because this is the final nail in the coffin, and this also tells that Bangladesh is currently not interested in having a good relationship with India. India had recently sent the foreign secretary, that is your Vikram Misri, to Bangladesh, and I think now time has definitely come where with diplomatic measures some hard steps might be taken to put Bangladesh in order. You need to realize that Bangladesh does not have money. Bangladesh does not have forex reserve, more than 1 or 2 months of forex reserves, and their entire economy, or for that matter electricity, is dependent upon India. Now if they want to sit in the lap of China, that will also might not go too far, because China itself is struggling with their own economy, and having friendship with Pakistan will also not help Bangladesh. They need to realize Pakistan itself is in dire straits of economic sanctions, and more sanctions have recently been put on its ballistic missile program also, and Pakistan's economy is in dire straits, is dilapidating. They hardly have food, shelter, money, and whatever money they have, they are putting on the missiles and rocket. Only problem with Pakistan and Bangladesh friendship is that number of militant attacks or number of arms from Pakistan to Bangladesh and Bangladesh to Northeast might increase. That is a major problem which we might face in terms of, good morning everyone, which we might face, which we might see coming from the Pakistan. Okay. And recently there has also been a case that a terrorist, his name is Javed Munsi. He was recently caught between India-Bangladesh border. He was trying to sneak from India border and enter in Bangladesh. Now he is a trained terrorist with links to Lashkar-e-Toiba. Okay. And now if these kind of activities recently have also increased, and then there's a group called EBT, that is Bangla team. It's an offshoot of a Bangladeshi militant group. It's a sleeper cell. This group's activity has also increased. Recently, this group was also caught. So number of these activities have suddenly increased because Pakistan finds an opportunity with this regime change in Bangladesh, that this regime change can be used to attack India on the northeast. And Bangladesh under Muhammad Yunus and the kind of extremist ministers which have come, which recently there was a post also, they were talking about taking land of West Bengal and other northeast states. I don't know who is spooking Bangladesh to think like that, because if they are trying to do, thinking of these misadventure, this will not, they need to realize that their country was created by India. No, not as a secondary friend. We were the first one. The entire army had surrounded the Dhaka, and 30 minutes was given to Pakistan, and there more than 90,000, 93,000 soldiers had surrendered. And now they're relying on Pakistan back. So Pakistan-Bangladesh friendship will only increase terrorism. That is a headache, and that is a threat India has. But in terms of economy and other things, Bangladesh, they can have a very tough time. So this one problem is there, and the Myanmar, the military junta versus rebels, that is also one problem increasing. But the military junta, the rebels which are increasing, the rebels are right now, that Arakan army I'm talking about, they had, recently destroyed some of the Myanmar-Bangladesh border areas where some Bangladeshis were there. So it's a very turmoil time for Bangladesh, Myanmar right now, and India need to be very cautious about this. And this extradition coming, this is only going to increase the problem for India. India has not given any statement regarding that what they will do about extradition. As per my thought process, they might want to delay this till next month, that is January end, through some paperwork, because extradition does not also happen like, you send a request and it starts happening tomorrow. So they will try to find some loophole. And in this extradition request, India, the treaty which India and Bangladesh have, India can also deny this. India can also deny this on the charges that, that these charges which have been put against Sheikh Hasina, these are false charges. Now Sheikh Hasina is also having a similar kind of fate which Imran Khan has. Now Imran Khan, if he is able to come out of one case, next day a new case pops up and he remains in jail. Similarly, more than 150 cases of corruption, murder, genocide. It's a case of genocide has also been put against her. Now everybody knows she never did a genocide. What genocide happened was done by Pakistan in Operation Searchlight before, in 1971. That was under General Tika Khan. He did a genocide of Bangladeshis in which more than 3 million people had died in Bangladesh. That was genocide. Now Sheikh Hasina has not done genocide, but these kind of charges, and many of them are fake charges which have been put against Sheikh Hasina, because there is an agenda of Muhammad Yunus and it's his selected students. And obviously it's a very extremist government which we are seeing recently, that the subjugation of minority community which has happened in this particular area. Okay, so this is basically going on, and Tawheed Hussain has confirmed that they had sent the request. And then you had a note, verbal was sent by Bangladesh High Commissioner to Indian Ministry of External Affairs. What is a note verbal? So it's basically an official note. It's a diplomatic note that is written in the third person. So extradition has been requested. Earlier, if the legal and political context, Sheikh Hasina, what has happened, we have covered it. So multiple charges of kidnapping, death, Pilkhana killings, responsibility, death during Hifazat-e-Islam rally, members of our administration and military personnel who are under also investigation. So right now the fate of Assami League, the fate of people who had worked at Sheikh Hasina, and even if they're working good, and even the cricketers which was associated of Bangladesh team with Sheikh Hasina, right now it's not a very great time for them to be in Bangladesh. So precedents in extradition: in 2015, India extradited Noor Hussain, convicted of Narayanganj 7 murder case and sentenced to death in 2022. Extradition of Prashanta Kumar Haldar, accused of financial fraud, remains pending. So might be India use it. Okay, we will do it. But before that, the extradition request, we have requested you, please you send this. I think more of paper and legal work and legal loopholes will be used, because India, as far as my thought process is concerned, straight away denying, that is not the most of the time India's gameplay. They might take some legal recourse and everything, because in that India is very good. So current status: an arrest warrant was issued against Sheikh Hasina in October, but legal proceedings are yet to advance. Now matter has gone with the has come with the External Affairs Ministry, but let's see what India will do. So this is a question which you can go through for your UPSC mains. Now let's move to the next important news, that is Jaishankar's 6-day visit will kick off today. So 6-day visit is happening. It will start from today, that is 24th of December, and more of the ending of this year of External Affairs Minister would be in America, meeting the outgoing Biden administration and incoming Donald Trump administration. Obviously, the focus would be on the incoming Donald Trump administration, which would be taking the charge from 20th January 2024. So multiple issues might be talked about from iCET, that is the critical emerging technology, that would be on the radar, Russia-Ukraine war and India-US relationships, the trade and the tariff issue between India and America, and basically trying to set the benchmark or set the stage for Modi and Trump to meet. Because if you see, recently when the Kuwaiti meeting happened, we were covering India-Kuwait relationships, and the highest award from the Kuwait was given to the Prime Minister Modi. Now all these things, when it happens, and the Prime Minister Modi happened after 43 years. I mean to say, Indian Prime Minister visit happened after 43 years to Kuwait. And Kuwait is a country which is, rich with oil and gas. Now they are also trying to, Kuwait also had this Kuwait Investment Authority, which has more than $924 billion. I think we have covered this in, yesterday lecture and even on Saturday's lecture. So we were working with Kuwait, and these all awards were given, all these agreements happened, but the homework for this agreement is done, previously. It's like a prequel which happens, 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 years of homework is done. Similarly, now Donald Trump and Modi would be definitely meeting next year. So say if they're meeting, say in 3 months or 4 months, External Affairs Minister going, they will do their homework, and that homework would be, continued with joint working groups, or for that matter, it would be continued with the secretary level talks between both of them, or even the National Security Advisor can also come if he needs. So this homework would be done, and the platform would be set before Modi and Trump meets. So this is the major intention of this meeting. This meeting was also done in 2016, in which the Prime Minister, at that time also the Jaishankar had gone and met the Donald Trump presidency and his his most important cabinet people who will be taking off the portfolios. But the difference between 2016 and 2024 is that in 2024 India understand Donald Trump to a decent extent. India also understand what is Donald Trump's policy on India. There's some issue regarding the tariffs, and what is Donald Trump thinking about Iran and Israel war, and Russia, Ukraine, whatever is available on the open domain. Obviously, Donald Trump sometimes gets up in the morning and writes something, out of the box. That's a very separate thing. But most of the times, how he will behave. Compared to 2016 to 20, when it was the first tenure, this tenure, pretty much India is on the cards with the America. And most importantly, Donald Trump and Narendra Modi, the current Prime Minister of our country, they share a very good Bonhoeffian relationship. So this meeting is more about strengthening that relationship. Now, an important talk which will happen during this would be iCET, that is the Critical and Emerging Technologies, Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies. This initiative was founded in 2022, but it starts in 2023. So was announced by India and US in May 22 with an objective of ensuring greater collaboration between India and US in areas of critical technology. 6 major areas are there in critical technologies. So both of them, India expects US will share their critical technologies, US expects India will share their critical technologies. And once both of them are able to do, then it would be later on shared with Quad, and the cooperation will also incorporate Quad, then Europe, and then the rest of the world. So it's officially launched in January 2023 and is being run by National Security Council of both countries. Since National Security Council comes, and that is why the NSS on the both sides also become very important. Okay, so the both countries have identified 6 areas of cooperation, which include co-development and co-production, and then gradually it will be expanded to Quad, after Quad to Europe, and then to the rest of the world. So India is ready to share core technologies with the US and expects Washington to do the same. Now, when it comes to these technologies, I would be very clear with you guys, and credit must be given where credit is due. When it comes to critical technologies, Americans are far ahead of us because of their investment in research and technology and science over years and decades. So obviously, India can learn a lot in this agreement with Americans. Okay, so focus areas of the initiative: AI research agency partnership, defense industrial cooperation, defense technology cooperation and defense startups, innovative ecosystems, semiconductor ecosystem development, cooperation on human spaceflight, advancement in 5G and 6G technologies, and adoption of open RAN network technology in India. So these would be the important focus of this. Okay. So, okay, and Open RAN is that open radio network. So the advancement in 5G, 6G, human space flight, semiconductor, ecosystem, defense industrial cooperation, AI. Now, when you talk about artificial intelligence, America is the leading country in the world when you talk about AI. From Open AI to Gemini, and major companies are based in America, and that is the reason that America also wants that China does not take lead specifically when it comes to this. So recent inclusion into iCET, biotechnology, critical minerals, rare earth mineral processing, and digital technologies. So out of the, apart from these sectors, new sectors which have joined in this are biotechnology, critical minerals, and rare earth minerals processing, and digital technology. When you talk about rare earth minerals from the point of view of electric vehicles, it's very important. In most of these technologies, America is far ahead of India. Rather, they are a leading country. So India can definitely learn a lot from iCET. So that is one thing. It's a good thing that the meeting will happen. And now coming to the news, so the visit would be December 24 to 29, 2 days before the year ends. Official of both the outgoing Biden administration and incoming Trump team, the visit aims to strengthen bilateral ties and address global issues and pave the way for early interactions with the Trump administration. Okay, so the External Affairs Minister will hold talks with the US officials, including Anthony Blinken, focusing on bilateral, regional, and global issues. Obviously, this would be done. The visit may include the final National Security Advisor level initiative of critical and emerging technologies. Why National Security Advisor level? Because this is done by National Security Council on both the side, and that is why National Security Advisor becomes very important. Okay. Focus would be on this biotechnology, space, exploration, quantum. Now, when it comes to quantum technology, India is doing good, but Americans are doing very good. Artificial intelligence, semiconductors. America's National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, during this potential early January visit to India, will continue these themes. So this, whatever we do on this, in the month of December, the talks will continue in the terms of January, early January. So whenever new reports come on it, on iCET, we would be covering that too. Okay, interaction with Trump transition team, we have already done. This was done in 2016 also. Strategic importance, obviously, strategically, America and India are very important from the point of Indo-Pacific, from the point of India-US strategic relationship in Indo-Pacific in terms of Quad, in terms of technology, in terms of defense cooperation. Obviously, this is a very important, and the Trump administration coming, which seems to be much better than Democrats in terms of favoring India. Let's see what exactly happens, but it seems to be favoring because Trump has a very strong stance when it comes to Pakistan and Bangladesh. So and towards that matter, China also. And the reason, one of the reasons China becoming a little bit of positive towards India or trying to rekindle the relationship between India and China, Trump is one of the major reasons. And Trump, his focus is much more on trade, less on wars. So I think he would be straight away, trying to find the solution to the Russia-Ukraine war, that Israel and Iran. And once his both hands are free, then then those hands would be on the neck of China. And a strangled China would be a better for India, which I feel, because a strangled China, India can get much more from China, because China would be dependent on India. Second important thing which will happen is that after Russia-Ukraine war, if the war ends and Putin is able to get out of the sanctions which have been put on the Russian economy, Russia can start selling oil and gas back to Europe. And if these sanctions are removed, Russia's relationship dependency on China will also reduce. So China, which is right now holding a Russia a lot, that part or dominance over Russia will also reduce. So strangling of Chinese neck, the dependence of Russia reducing on China, and Chinese dependence increasing on India, maybe these are good steps, but only time will tell what exactly happens. So PM potential visit to be expected in 2025 reflects India's commitment to enhancing presence in the Indo-Pacific strategic dialogue. And when we talk about Indo-Pacific strategic dialogue, quadrilateral security dialogue comes, China comes, South China Sea comes, and for that matter, the artificial islands comes, parcels, partly all these things comes. And China, it has now the biggest navy in the world. All these things definitely comes. So this one more important challenge would be the indictment which have been put on Gautam Adani and his group by the Department of Justice and SEC, and the alleged Pannu assassination attempts. Now, the External Affairs Minister would also definitely like to talk about this, because the current the BJP party has put allegations that US is deliberately trying to target Adani and his group. Okay. So let's see, but the US Embassy had expressed disappointment over these acquisition. Let's see, I think over a period of time, 1 to 2 meetings, this can be resolved, because when it comes to Pannu, see, Pannu is important for America till it is a leverage. Otherwise, the day the importance of Pannu is over, he would be lying in some river or some other corner of America or in some jail. So America is very clear on its goals. If Pannu is useful, they will be using. Once the usefulness is ended, then the end of the other person also comes very soon in America. So key meetings and objectives: iCET Conference on India Consular Generals in the US, establishing groundwork for PM Trump engagement, enhancing Quad cooperation. So these are expected. So let's come to the question. iCET was launched in May 2022 as a collaboration between National Security Council of India and US. Yes, it was launched in May 2022, but it came in force in 2023. iCET focus on areas such as semiconductor ecosystem development, advancement in 5G, 6G technologies, cooperation on human spaceflight. Yes, these are the areas. Biotechnology, critical minerals, rare earth minerals processing have been recently included in the area cooperation under iCET. Absolutely. So these were later added. Initially, there were 6 major areas, and these were added. So all the 3 statements are absolutely correct. Let's move to the next important news. Before I move, so on 6th January 2025, the Conquer Prelims 2025, the integrated GS and CSAT program related to coming Prelims 2025 is starting. For all details, you can also call on that number which was provided earlier, or scan the QR code. Aditya sir for economics and Sudeep sir for your geography, both the top faculties of Insights IAS. You can also talk to them, provided you come here and you get the take the mentorship, and the faculty is available, and rest you can call on that number for all the related details. Okay, and this is the post price also. Let's move to the next important news. That is, center scraps no detention policy for class 5th and 8th, stress on remedial measures. So finally the government has come that if you, in a very simple way, if you don't work hard, in your retest and re-evaluation exams, you will not be promoted just because you that 5th to 8th we will have no detention policy. The person would be promoted, because once you start doing it from 5th to 6th, 6th to 7th, 7th to 8th, the kind of student which you get in 9th, when the amount of mathematics and science increases, the student is not able to cope up with these challenges because his base is very weak. And if your mathematics base of 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th is weak, your science and social science base is very weak, you are not able to compete in the class. So finally the government has come up with the decision. They had taken the decision earlier only. Now they have eventually scrapped the no detention policy for class 5th and 8th, class 5th and 8th, allowing schools to hold back students who failed to clear year-end examination. So I mean to say for 5th and 8th I'm specifically talking about. So say significant policy shift aims to address learning gaps and improve learning outcomes, remedial measures, and re-evaluation opportunities. So what happens is that, for example, 5th is a very important class. 1st to 5th you come, and 6th, these civics and social studies subjects, and they go in depth, and the science also includes geography and all those subjects come. Now 5th is a very important class because 6th the change will come. So if you're not able to perform in 5th, then the problem will come in 6th. It will continue in 7th also, and eventually once you reach 8th, 8th the problem will come that the 9th, in which 9th and 10th become very important, because eventually you will be going for the higher studies in the terms of 11th and 12th, science, commerce and other streams will be coming. The problem is that if you're weak in 5th and if you're weak in 8th and this continuous promotion starts, it's okay that you will pick up. The problem is that the amount of syllabus would be increasing and the complexity of the subject also increases, and if you're not able to cope up, the learning outcome is very poor. And if these students continue, it is only a problem for them that they are not able to prove it, and if they would have been given more time in the same class, they would have become a better student. So that's the major thought process behind it, that the learning outcomes should be better and the learning gap which is increasing. For example, out of say 50 class in a student, 40 are very good and 10 they are not able to even cope up with 40-50%. Then just transferring them into the next class irrespective of their result is just a poor show, because it will continue. Because if they were not able to perform in 5th, the chances are that they will not be able to perform in 6th, because the burden of 5th is already there. The base of 5th is not clear, that the base of 6th, the additional subject of 6th plus the previous base of 5th which was not understood, it will continue, and over a time with 6th, 7th, 8th, this will culminate into failures or not understanding the subject as a whole. Okay. So in this context, Ministry of Education issued a notification dated December 16 titled Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Rules 2024. Student failing promotion criteria in class 5th or 8th. So 5th or 8th can now be detained after exhausting remedial measures and re-examination. So remedial measures would be given, re-examination would be given, parents and the children will sit with the teachers, and the teachers would be aligning specific subjects or specific strategy with the students who are failing, so that they can cope up and pass. So they would be given a retest, they would be given a re-evaluation, they would be given exercises so that they can pass. But even after this, if they are not able to cope up, then they would be detained. So Right to Education Act 2009 was amended in 2019 to remove no detention policy. The notification of the rule was delayed until after the release of National Curriculum Framework NCF in 2023, but finally now this has come into force. Okay. So student failing to meet promotion criteria will receive additional instruction, must undergo re-examination within 2 months of the result declaration. So for example, if you have failed in the month of January, the results have come, then you've got February and March and April first week, or the end of March you will get an examination, then you need to qualify where you could not pass. So this is the standard which is coming. It is expecting students to take their academics seriously. If they fail the examination, they will be detained but not expelled from the school before class 8. Now there is a talk of expulsion also, that if you continuously start doing, you might be expelled from the school. So now academics and students, both the students, you need to take their academics seriously. Parents need to make sure that their ward takes the academics very seriously. So parent-teacher guideline, teacher will provide specialized guideline to both student and parents, identifying learning gaps and offering solution in improved performance. Now this is the good step in the terms of that the learning gap should not continue, otherwise it will create the students eventually after 11, 12, because whose base in academics would be very weak, and if their base in academics is very weak, eventually the after graduation industries are also not very keen to take students whose base is not very good, who is not very clear about the concepts, depending upon which industry you are going. The problem which comes is that, okay, this is a good step, the gap should be reduced, and the new policy, the new education policy, NEP also talks about it, quality education, everything said and done. But how will this happen? Most of the time, problem with these government schools is that the teacher itself is neither motivated, and most of the time his or her concepts are not very clear. So they are just time passing, or they are just trying to come and complete the classes. The focus of the teacher is also not there. I'm not trying to save the student. Yes, students are also like this, but there's a huge problem with the teacher also. The teacher most of the times they are not able to complete the syllabus, and just 1 week or 2 weeks before the examination, they are rushing to complete the syllabus. And multiple examples from the country has come. Teachers are coming to schools, and rather than taking classes, they are cutting vegetables. There multiple videos are there, and then teachers quality has been poor. Yes, the state governments have taken steps to take care of it, but still lots needs to be done. So it's a good step, but the point is that will teachers actually do this specialized guidance and everything? I've never seen in my entire education, that specialized guidance has been given. Neither it was given in school, and in college nobody was bothered. Yes, when I started preparing for civil services and I started meeting those teachers, obviously where they were, guiding and they were trying to help, or even some, senior bhaiya who was trying. A senior bhaiya was much more helpful in college than my teacher. That's my take, because he would come, he will tell that read these subjects. The colleges and professors were just trying to come and complete the lectures. There was no focus on actually putting an effort so that student understands, learns, evaluates, synthesizes, analyzes. There was no effort, and if the effort is not there, this will continue, and this will just become one more policy, and the policy will continue. So for example, if a student is retained in 6th standard, for 5th standard or 8th standard, there is a psychological problem also, because he feels a taboo around him that he has failed and his students have moved on, and it becomes very difficult. Okay, some crackers were going on. Okay, finally those crackers are over. So when a student is retained in 8th or a 5th class, he sees that his friends have moved on. He finds a taboo, and the parents also find that, and he feels that, that he's a failure. Now he or she is a failure. Now also this needs to be taken care by the system. Will this system of schools, teachers take care of it, that this student does not feel that he has left behind, and will this effort would be taken? These are certain challenges which needs to be taken care of. Okay. So this is NEP 2020 focuses on quality education, disparities in student performance. So focus on individual support, alignment with NEP 20, addressing the learning gaps. On these basis, this step is taken. Very good. Okay. But the challenges are potential impact on student morale and confidence, need for effective implementation of remedial programs. I have never seen, I'm not talking about top schools and private schools where the fees is exorbitant in nature. There definitely they would be taking care, so much of fees is going on. I'm talking about government schools and other schools where this policy will be implemented, but will teachers do it? That is something which needs to be asked. I would also want your opinion. Do you think this will really happen on the ground? Balancing accountability with inclusivity in primary education, that everyone, see, inclusive is good, but just taking some student because it has to be inclusive is also incorrect, because they say out of say there are 50 students, okay, and out of this 5, the standard 5, they are passing 5th, and remaining out of this 50, 45 students are good and they are able to pass the 5th class. Remaining 5 students, their base even of 1st, 2nd or 3rd is not good. Then even if you are trying to continue them, there is a problem, because 6th, 7th, 8th, the subjects will become even more complex in nature. So that is what I'm trying to talk about. So we need to find a balance to this problem. Okay, so this is the question. Let's move towards the editorial of today. It's a wonderful editorial on India's steel frame does need a check. So it talks about Indian administrative services. Most of you who wants to join these services. So Indian governance system heavily reliant on Indian administrative services, facing pressing challenges that demand administrative reforms. So multiple reforms are needed to change it, because most important problem which is coming in civil services, which is from colonial era, that they don't have subject matter experts. People, and their departments also keep changing. For example, they are in Ministry of Environment, then they are in MHA, they are in, then for example, they are in Ministry of Education or HRD Ministry. Previously it was HRD Ministry. So even if they have 10 years of tenure, they are not a subject matter experts, and again and again this has come that they are not technical experts. And if a technical expert is working on, he is reporting to an IAS officer who does not even know about that field. For example, there's a department and the person who is heading it, there's a department of rare earth minerals or artificial intelligence technology, and the person who is heading is an IAS officer who does not even have a base of this, but he is controlling all those people who are subject matter experts. Their finance would be decided by a person who doesn't even know about this technology and does not even understand. This is what majorly this article talks about, that since IAS officers keep shifting from one department to second to third, it can be because of the government policies, and then the problem is that they need to be pro politicians or they need to be pro government, because if they don't be like that, the political class becomes very vendetta in nature, and they'll keep posting them here and there. So there are many good IAS officers or many good people in the bureaucracy, but certain times they are not able to work because of the political vendetta and political policies. Even Supreme Court has said many times that this promotion, and specifically these, you keep posting people here and there because of the personal vendetta of politicians. This needs to be stopped and action needs to be taken. But nothing on ground has actually happened. So persistent issues such as politicization, inefficiency, lack of specialization, that they are not subject matter expert. For example, he's a graduate in arts and then he's able to clear civil services, but eventually he would be looking AI, and the person under him might be an expert in AI. So that's the problem, that the person who is looking after the department doesn't even have a base about it. So that is also one important thing, and that is why the lateral entry also started to reduce the dominance of civil services. But you remember around 3-4 months back, some months back, that reservation issue came, that the government is trying to reduce the civil services and civil services jobs and everything, and then eventually government had to take that step back. So even if they try to come up with the innovative step, it's very difficult that it can be implemented. So politicization, inefficiency, and lack of specialization within the bureaucracy hinders the country's economic potential and governance goals. And obviously civil services has the colonial origins. The IAS rooted in the colonial Indian civil services has been backbone of India's administrative post-independence, and there is no doubt about it that civil services or the bureaucracy has been the steel frame of the country. It runs the country. It has taken the country to taking the country to the future. If you see External Affairs Minister, one of the best example of bureaucracy coming from IFS, and now he's a wonderful External Affairs Minister. There have been multiple examples where bureaucrats which have come in political life, they have done very well. Bureaucrats who have been into the public life when they were in services, they have done very well. But since every machinery needs new parts, and since every machinery needs oiling, so wherever your car, even if your car today from diesel and petrol cars, you're moving to the Teslas. So similarly, the machinery of our administration needs to be changed, and it needs to be reinvigorated, it needs to be reinforced, it needs to be re-energized. So that is majorly this article talks about. So frequent politically motivated transfers and promotion, officials lack domain experts due to frequent rotation, because if you keep shifting that IAS officer from 1 to 2 years, 2 years, 2 years here, 2 years MOD, 2 years MHA, 2 years, for example, some other ministry, environment, or social justice and everything. So he or she will not become an expert. That's the problem. And political and motivated transfers and promotions put pressure on the bureaucrats to abide by what politicians are saying, because otherwise they will be keep shifting and they will not be able to work. So system has been designed in a way where the bureaucrats are just getting harassed. Okay. So across department limiting their ability to handle complex governance challenges. Corruption and inefficiency. According to World Bank Government Effectiveness Index, India performs moderate, reflecting poor policy implementation and administrative independence. This wonderful article which also came in today's Hindu, it talks about, I think there was from some civil services institute had done this kind of a conclave where all the IAS officers had come, and major crux which had come from that meeting, since we are talking about civil services, had come. It is saying that that if you want to prepare for UPSC examination, the most important thing is that you should be updated about the current affairs. Apart from your subject, mains and everything, it is important that if your current affairs are not updated, it will have a huge problem. So current affairs which we do on daily basis has to be top notch, because this is current affairs is that salt which needed to be added in various mains paper and to clear the UPSC prelims, that important salt which puts the taste in the food. So this salt is very important, and make sure that you keep getting this salt on daily basis. So centralized governance, centralized decision making under the successive government include current leadership has mixed outcomes, facilitates rapid reforms, reduces bureaucracy and autonomy and accountability. This has happened under the NDA government, because in NDA government, the bureaucrats have not been so powerful which used to be under UPA, because the because in NDA government, the centralized leadership under the PMO office or PM has very become important. So rapid reforms are happening, but the bureaucrats' autonomy has reduced. Recommendation of the first ARC, that is ARC 1966 and ARC 2005, says that recommendations should be merit-based promotions, performance evaluation mechanisms, safeguards against arbitrary transfer. So these recommendations have been given, but these recommendations again are on the papers. Nothing has been put on the ground to implement it. Despite these recommendations, implementation has been limited due to political and bureaucratic inertia, and mostly because of political inertia. Obviously, bureaucrats will definitely want that this comes, but the problem is that political will is not there, because if that comes, then this arbitrary transfer, the political power to control the transfers and harass the bureaucrat, that will reduce, and bureaucrat can take independent and good decisions. That might not happen. That might be controlled by the politicians. So judicial directive, Supreme Court directed Civil Services Board in 2013 to ensure transparency in transfer, but enforcement has been weak. So these are the major problems. Recommendations of ARC of 1966 has come, after 2000 has come, hardly any implementation is happening. So civil services, the new machinery has to come, it has to become, reinforcement needs to be done, but again, everything is on the papers, nothing on the ground is actually happening. So introduced by the NDA government, lateral entry initiative. So, finally the NDA government decided that we need domain experts from industries. They need to come. But eventually what happened? The 2057 officers have been appointed, and mechanism with position advertised for joint secretaries and directors. So this reduced the dominance, with only 33% of joint secretaries at the center now belonging to IAS. So the dominance of IAS officers was reduced because subject matter expert had come. So decent. But the problem which majorly came was that government reversal on lateral entry appointment under political pressure, then elections, all these things will come. So we also need to find a balance. So either the civil servants which we have, or rather civil services or the other administrative services, you get people from them, train them and make them subject matter experts who are willing to do it. Or either you get the lateral entry, otherwise the steel frame will eventually suffer. So these were the problem which came to resistance to the lateral entry, potential to undermine IAS morale, lack of reservation provisions. Once the word reservation comes, all the political parties in India come. That's the major problem. Okay, so we can also take examples from the America, the Donald Trump best friend, I should say, Elon Musk has come up with DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, in which the redundant departments would be taken care of. They would be shared, Tata bye-bye, and the extra expenditure which is being done on these departments, this would also be taken care of. Argentina is also one of the best example, where now Argentina economy has moved around 3.5, 3.6%, with still inflation is there, but Argentina economy has positive 3.5, 3.6%, somewhere around these numbers. I might not be exactly correct, but now the Argentina has set an example, because all these extra government departments was removed. This extra fat of this government machinery was removed. So similar steps will be taken in America, and this would be set by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and their experience. So these certain things can also be adopted by India in terms of promote data-driven decision-making, develop metrics for assessing bureaucratic performance, ensure time-bound, focused remove initiative, that bureaucrats which are performing very well, the bureaucrats which are working very well. So it should be dashboard like it happens in corporates, that if you're working good, there's a standard parameter, you will be getting promoted. So similar things can be done. So challenges for bureaucratic reform, intense institution practice. So IAS is deeply rooted in Indian government structure, and resistance comes from civil services only. Political interference is there. Legislative stalemate is there in the terms of Civil Services Standard Performance and Accountability Bill 2010 still has not been passed. So way forward can be merit-based recruitment and promotion. This is in the corporate sector, and we see how they have done so well. Specialization in policy making. The bureaucrats need to be expert in policy making. That means expert in that area. Plus, they also need to become subject matter expert. Accountability mechanism. This is very important. If he or she is not able to perform, certain actions can be taken. Data-driven decision making. That's a very important thing. Invest in robust data infrastructure to track performance and inform placement, that the work which was given to this civil services, was it done or not. For example, the Pragati platform under the PMO plus the central secretaries and state secretaries. Pragati platform is a wonderful platform. Similarly, proactive and pro-governance steps can be taken if we want to improve our civil services. Okay. So this I've already covered with you. So this is a important UPSC mains question. You can go, it talks about lateral entry. IS can be expected in your examination also. Okay. In the extra mile, you have India's reliance on China for critical minerals. Please go through it. Do follow ICANN 2.0 on YouTube. So guys, thank you very much and Jai Hind, and I hope you did like the lecture for today. An important comment has come. Let me just check it. It supports weaker student to compete with others, but the teacher feels difficult in maintaining standard of level. Yes, Parikshit, that is definitely a problem. So guys, thank you very much. Jai Hind. Merry Christmas to everyone. We'll meet tomorrow. Take care and bye-bye.